Hello everyone in Rogersville and Hawkins County. From here in Washington, D.C., we've got a lot of business to finish up the next couple of weeks, and certainly the news of the day is the Hurricane Florence that's just off the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. We certainly wish those folks nothing but the best, and obviously pray for their safety and well-being. And I know that we're making preparations where we are to help. At Bristol Motor Speedway and other areas, hospital people are helping, so our thoughts and prayers are with them also. What we have on our plate for the next couple of weeks is going to be finishing our appropriations bills. And just very briefly, there are 12 bills that we appropriate money for to run the U.S. government. Just in a few minutes, I'm going to go back to the House floor and vote on 3 of them in a small package. Our hope by the end of this month, which will be the first time in 20 years this has been done, on time, 90% of the appropriations bills will be signed into law by the President. And these continuing resolutions and omnibuses hopefully are a thing of the past. What we're voting on today is, which makes me very proud, is part of it is the VA. And when I got to Congress in 2009, we as a nation spent about $97 billion on VA health care, benefits, and cemeteries. The President's asked, and we have approved, under the budget caps that we have, a $202 billion budget. So we are providing the resources for our nation's heroes. Obviously, a lot of other things in the news that we are doing up here. One are student loans. We know that that's a huge problem for some families. We're working on how to make that easier and better for our students. Obviously, the opioid epidemic is another thing, and one that we worked on. One last thing I want to say before we close out is you hear all the time, you hear bad news. There's really some good news. Last week, we spent an hour with Dr. Francis Collins, who's the director of the National Institutes of Health, and there are some amazing things going on in research that will affect everyday lives in our country. And from cancer research, most of us know what Lou Gehrig's disease is, and there is a condition that affects babies very similar to that all these children are dead by age 1. There's a new, very novel treatment that they developed at NIH that now there are children that are now 3 and 4 years old out there with this very serious condition. So I could go on and on about that. I was so excited after the breakfast. It had nothing to do with legislation, but just to do with the research that they're doing. Thanks. You all have a safe weekend. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome into the very first edition of Hawkins County Neighbors. I'm Tommy Campbell, your host for the show, and we're learning as we go here. So there may be a few glitches along the way, but we will get through those. Some of you out there, a lot of you actually, may have heard of Dolly Parton's amazing Imagination Library. But what you may not know is there is an active chapter right here in Hawkins County. And here today to talk about the Hawkins County Imagination Library is Charlotte Britton. Welcome to the show, Charlotte.
Thank you so much.
And, you know, I can't think of anybody that's better qualified to talk about how important reading is in a child's life than you, because you have had an amazing career that spanned the classroom to the director of schools for Hawkins County. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how important, from a teacher's perspective, from the educational standpoint, how important reading is in a child's life?
Well, Tommy, the importance of reading, I guess I cannot express how important it is. I retired as an educator from Hawkins County after 40 years. And the first 17 years, I was a kindergarten teacher. So I most certainly noticed the difference between children who came to the classroom and had exposure to books and reading, and to the children who did not have that opportunity. Thanks to the Hawkins County Imagination Library, they provide free books to every child in Hawkins County.
Which is an amazing thing in today's world.
Right. And we have 2,324 children right now enrolled in that program. 73% of the children who are eligible from birth to age 5 are receiving books in Hawkins County.
That's awesome.
And we just really feel that children need to have the exposure to the books. The very first book that they receive from the program is The Little Engine That Could. And they get this before they even leave the hospital. And the very last program, a total of 60 books over 5 years. That's 12, one a month each year.
At no cost to the parents.
At no cost to the parents. Is Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come, preparing them to come to kindergarten. And the exposure, nothing can replace sitting with a parent, cuddling up with a book, and enjoying the rich text that is read to them. And that is such an important skill. The
Yes.
child learns how to hold a book, the importance of reading. It expands their vocabulary, and it is such a wonderful program that is free for the children that actually enroll for the program.
And you know, I know we live in a world of high tech and cell phones and tablets and computers and books on tape and books online, but there is nothing like holding a book in your hands. Call me old school, but there's just nothing like it, and I think children need that today.
Absolutely. And I have 4 grandchildren, and each of them have been enrolled in this program. And the joy that they have when that book arrives in their mailbox at their home,
Right.
that is free to them. However, there is a cost, and you know, I'm a part of Hawkins County Imagination Library, and half of the money comes from the governor's books from birth from our government in Tennessee, and we are so appreciative of that funding. But half of the money is actually a cost to Hawkins County. So we are constantly
That has to be
having
raised here.
fundraisers, local fundraisers to help with that. At any point, we would appreciate any donations. For $12, that provides a book for one child for 1 year.
$12.
$12.
And you know, I think what people need to realize is these are high quality books. They're hardcover. They're the same books that if you were to buy these books in a bookstore would cost you probably upwards of $12, $14, $15 per book.
That is correct.
And you can provide that same book to a child for $1 a book. That's amazing.
And for a $24 donation, you know, it provides a child books for 2 years, and $60 provides them for all 5 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, why don't we take a short break right here. We have a special guest today who would like to tell you what the Imagination Library means to her.
Hi everybody, this is Dolly. Before he passed away, my daddy told me that the Imagination Library probably was the most important thing I'd ever done. Now I can't tell you how much that meant to me because I created the Imagination Library as a tribute to my daddy. He was the smartest man I've ever known, but I knew in my heart his inability to read probably kept him from seeing all his dreams come true. Inspiring kids to love to read became my mission. In the beginning, my hope was simply to inspire the children in my home county. But here we are today with a worldwide program that gives a book a month to over 1 million children. Of course, I have not done this alone. The real heroes of our story was the thousands of local organizations who have embraced my dream and made it their own. They raise millions of dollars each year and wake up every day with a passion to make sure that their kids have every opportunity to succeed. It's been quite a journey, but we have so much more left to do. Now, I'd love for your community to join our family, so please take the time to explore our website. Let's share this dream that all children should grow up in a home full of books.
I think that's an awesome tribute to her. Being a native of East Tennessee, and we really appreciate all the work that she's done in bringing this to the amazing program it is today. And we're joined now by Debbie Shedden. Debbie is a member of the Hawkins County Board of Education and has previously served as president of the Tennessee School Boards Association. So Debbie, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Tommy.
And I believe you want to touch on a little bit about how important reading is to kids, because you see this too, being a school board member, and I remember when you were president of the association that year, that was one of your priorities.
It was. Certainly as a member of the Hawkins County Board of Education, every day I see the importance of reading in a child's life. We know now that being able to read by the third grade level is the single biggest indicator of a child's success throughout his school life. I think that one point is so important. I was very fortunate to be president of the Tennessee School Boards Association in 2016. And as my platform, I used literacy, a legacy for life, because I truly believe that literacy is a legacy that we pass on to our children. I was very fortunate to have parents who realized the importance of literacy and fostered that from an early age. And I would hope that every parent and grandparent fosters that in their homes as well.
And I don't think we can emphasize that enough, how important it is. And I know people still read today, but a lot of kids read on their cell phones. They read, through social media, and it's just different. When you hold that book in your hand, it's just different.
It is. It is, certainly.
And it sticks with you because I saw that in my children and now in my grandchildren. How they'll when they come over to the house, they'll, Papa, read me a book, and I think that's priceless, because if these kids can't read, then they're not going to do well in math, science, or anything else.
Every subject connects back to reading,
as you
said.
Every subject.
Math, science, technology. You have to be able to read the instructions, to read the books, to be successful.
Right.
So.
Well. You want to talk a lot. I know you've got some fundraisers coming up.
We do.
And as Charlotte said, it takes money. The program is free to the parents, but
Correct.
It's not free to buy the books. And even though the books are an amazing price, there's money involved, and that's where you folks can come in and help the Imagination Library by supporting it with your donations, your contributions. So why don't you talk a little bit about the fundraisers you have coming up and
Okay.
how our readers and viewers can help with that.
Okay, our next fundraiser is called the No Run Run fundraiser.
Okay?
And you're asking, what is a No Run Run? The No Run Run, in memory of Doc McConnell, is a fundraiser that we're going to use at the Hawkins County Imagination Library.
He was a very famous local storyteller.
He was. He was a great person.
I'm sure a lot of people remember Doc.
A grand storyteller. The No Run Run is an after-work event that will be held on Monday, October 22nd from 5 to 7 at the Tennessee Jack's restaurant in Rogersville. The runner will experience all the fun of a run, the exciting finish line, they'll get a race number, a commemorative t-shirt, and a great after party. All of this without even breaking a sweat. Because it's a no-run run.
That sounds like my kind of run.
The entrance to Tennessee Jack's will be the finish line, and the party will start as soon as you walk in the door.
Awesome.
The prices are $30 ahead of time and $40 if you come in at the door. So we're looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a fun fundraiser with hopefully a lot of participation.
And from what I know about your group, Debbie, all of the money raised stays here.
That is correct.
So if you contribute to the Hawkins County Imagination Library, your money is going to stay here to provide books for children in Hawkins County.
That is correct, and so important for our area.
So very important from our area. So anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
This week, which is September 16th through 22nd, is the annual Imagination Library Week. And we are asking everyone in Hawkins County, whether you be a parent, a grandparent, whether you be a city official, whether you be a school board member, to grab a book and go to one of our local schools and read to a class.
Just
read to the children. And show them how important you feel literacy is as well.
Because they need to see that.
Yes, they need to see that. And if they'd like to take a picture and tag it on Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat, it's hashtag got caught reading. And a lot of those pictures are going to be shown on the Imagination Library website.
And you can send those pictures to us here at the Review, and we'll be glad to print those in our paper and add those to our website too.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Sure can.
Okay.
Well, Debbie Shedden, thank you so much for being here with us today, and you and Charlotte Britton. And with that said, that's our first show, folks. So thank you for watching, and be sure to join us next week for another edition of Hawkins County Neighbors.